Welcome back once again to Red Bird Gaming. I was pressing buttons and it decided that it did not like me. So we are working through some vespid stingwing still. What are we up to? This would be the fourth video, and we have only really gotten, well, hopefully by this one, 4 coats painted. Well, 4 models with the base coat of the body done, and slightly the wings. We try not to get too crazy and do anything too out of the ordinary that will cause me some mischief. I'm trying to make sure I don't absolutely bottle this while I paint it. I know my name's not Lando Norris. Anyone who does follow Formula 1 probably gets that gag. There should be some people out there, hopefully watching, who do follow Formula 1 and will have an absolute field day with the fact that I'm worried about bottling something, and referring to Lando Norris, who's, if anyone who is following does, or is following but doesn't really know what we're talking about, has a habit of being in a winning position and absolutely choking, making God almighty errors that, you know, someone of his caliber, skill set, years of racing should not do. And it makes for some very entertaining moments, especially for the fans, because it's just hilarious that after the amount of years he's been in Formula 1, and the skills that he has shown on occasion, the ability for him to make such the simplest of mistakes in the way in which he does is just goddamn hilarious. As I said, those who know what I'm talking about are absolutely cacking themselves right now, because they're like, yep, we hear you loud and clear. Good gag. Good laughter. Such entertainment. But let's continue on. We are pushing on. As if you are a regular follower, we are pushing on towards our 2,000 point, well, my 2,000 point army. Approximately after this, I should have about 15 to 1,600 points painted, roughly, give or take. I do have another approximately, there is 5 models there, so it's almost two full units of fire knives, which I'm from memory, fire knives are 130 or 150 a piece, so I do definitely have a bit of army painted. I'm slowly but surely getting through my painting. I do have 7 weeks as of this week to finish off everything, so that I should speak a little better than that. Everything, so that I am in position to be able to, you know, not have any negative point awards for not having a completely painted army. So we soldier on as fast as we can to get the models painted, and I will probably be doing a couple more videos tonight, just of me trying to tidy up some of these models. I'll do have the heater on the house, so this stuff should dry relatively quickly, enabling me to really get in and get stuff painted. is what I need to do, and I need to go back through some of this stuff. And because I've decided that the very last toe nail on these toes, I'm going to paint them black. Just something different. So I know that they're currently being painted blue like the rest of the body. Which, you know, to be honest, big whoop. Not going to make much of a difference for me in terms of it stopping me from getting stuff done. I just cruise around and make sure I've got all of the paint on all of the bits. Look at that. There is a bit of butthole that's not painted. A bit of leg. Stinger on the stingwing. Alright, cool. So we will just quickly try our best not to, well, we've already done it, but you know, it happens. Get this, switch over to a different brush so that I can, I got just the one, yep. Switch over to a different brush so I can just get in a few of these little spots, which I'm trying to do, and that's the other thing I get to do because of this particular thing that I'm using as a makeshift painting handle. I get to hold it in a particular fashion or position that is super comfortable for me. And given that we are working with some very fine parts because we are doing fingers, we can actually, if I don't bump the screen with my glasses, done. And now we can move into the fun section, which is really getting these wing components, as you can see, painted. This is really about getting this section of the wing and this section in there, which now I can paint a little closer to that, seeing as I have the small brush at hand, and get in where I want to get in without really, hopefully, still knowing me, I'm going to make a boo-boo here. I just know it. As much as I try to be cautious, I'm still slightly heavy-handed in terms of layering on paint, which can be a slight frustration, to be honest. But I'm very much trying to improve how much I actually, how I attack some of these painting styles so that I'm not really making too many boo-boos. So, now that we've got that sorted, all that edge section sorted, see what I mean? All over the top there. Spin this around. I'm going to have to go over this bug with white to fix up where I've gone and spilt the darker colours, or some of it actually won't matter because like the wings on which you will have, I didn't paint on my channel but did paint on my Dark Angels on their backs of their motorcycles. It was a little bit hard. There is a little bit of spillage between the actual wing on the model and the background of the paint, or the other part of the model that I'm trying to paint without too much of a problem, but Yeah, so let's get this sorted out. It's fun because some of it I get just right, the right amount of paint off the brush, the right amount of paint on my part of the model I'm after. I'm getting the slightest areas where I get nice clean lines where I'm not making too many mistakes, and then trust me, I make an absolute meal of it. So as you can see, on the tops of both of those sections, so we'll flip upside down and we're going to complete the same process again. With the hope that we can get a nice, that I'm going to get a nice flat line all the way to the end. And so I'm pretty sure I've said this, but just in case I haven't, and I know I have but not in this video, I'm using what is classified as Nighthaunt Gloom, Nighthaunt Gloom as the colour. That's allowing me to get this dark, very as it would be looked at, understood, believed. Bluey kind of tealy colour. And we're almost done another one, which when we look, just make sure I got all the little nooks and crannies, any spots where it's not taken to the colour on the brush, and I can just fix it up slightly with a finger there. On the end of his ankle here, which is fine. Just there actually. Alright. Probably going to say, apart from a few more dots of paint, that we indeed have another completed vespid stingwing. So there is 3 with their, obviously their armour fully painted. And we will just jump in and actually paint, because this is slightly dried, so I've got the ability to kind of lean onto the miniature to a degree in terms of painting, pushing colour on. I can get rid of that again. Let's get this in. And we'll get this colour added on there. Lovely. Alright, now let's get into the side. Work on one wing at a time might make it easier, which I did I think before. But as per normal, guys, it is a blast for me to make these videos, to talk the absolute shenanigans and ramblings that I do with you guys, but got to remember that I do need, it makes it a little hard without interaction. It definitely can be questionable. Am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Are you guys entertained? So I guess what I'm really asking for is just a little bit of a chat. Feel free to comment on the videos. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Tell me how you're going. Tell me what you think. Is what I'm painting helpful? Is what I'm saying helpful? Does it make sense what I'm doing? Is there anything that you feel like you're missing because I haven't said X, Y, Z? Am I explaining some things and not others? Like it's feedback is what we. Got a whole arm in there that's not even painted. Good job, knackers. Feedback is what we thrive off, especially us small content creators, small YouTubers. Hearing someone say, having a message say, that I'm doing a great job, that you like what I'm doing, it makes it all a hell of a lot more rewarding. Definitely makes me understand, or feel like I'm not making as many mistakes as I feel like I'm making, because I really think I'm absolutely bottling this sometimes. I absolutely just making a meal out of it. But then when I do, and there is a few of you out there who do comment, and I'm going to say it, I appreciate it, because I do. It's great. Definitely makes me feel like I'm actually doing the right thing. Like I'm producing videos that make sense, that are entertaining, that give you something to watch, that I'm providing information that's useful, or just even talking about stuff. And sometimes people just want to listen to someone talk, want to hear a human being, and not something that's very much this is a terrible effort. So I went all over that barrel of the gun here, which I now have to try and... Oh God, I'm not going to get that off anytime soon. That's way too much. Oh, that was an absolute schmozzle. I got bloody all sorts of paint from our side of breakfast time, and it just did not pan out the way I wanted to. What I will do actually is, thinking about this, I'll switch over to the bigger brush again for a second, just so I can use it to push some paint along the edge. Well, actually, some spots it won't be so bad because the brush is so big. It should actually be a little bit more helpful in a couple of areas which I can guide myself well enough, which I'm trying to do. which I kind of did. I can get the right amount of paint in the right area. So let's skip that last bit there because it definitely was not working anymore. It was becoming very elongated in the wrong way. Oops. And there we are, to a degree. Another, well, actually I can fix this. I get headbutting the camera stand, which my camera is on, which is a little bit annoying and a little bit uncomfortable. Headbutting it every couple of seconds when you're trying to lean forward to see where you're putting paint. Because as we can see, what I did there, I must have taken some colour off that hand accidentally, which is okay because I've just got to get in there like so. Alright, there we go, guys. Another long-ish video, but that is, again, a completed stingwing, well, a base-coated stingwing with the skin tone done. Again, Nighthaunt gloom and contrast paint. And so I'm going to use, this is the shade I'm going to use, which shows you, Carenberg Crimson. So I'm really hoping that that comes up nicely, and you'll see that in the next video. But as per normal, bye for now. Like what I do, subscribe, leave a comment, hit me up, and we'll see you in the next one.